The Banana Story. In fall 1991, I went to Thailand. One afternoon, while driving around Samui Island with a couple of English-speaking expats, we went into a small grocery store. In the store, I asked a young boy whose English was moderate, not fluent but good enough to answer easy grocery store questions, if they had any bananas. I said, "Do you have any bananas?" And the boy said, "No, we don't have bananas." I followed with the confirmation question. "Ah, you don't have any bananas?" And the boy said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, thank you very much." One of the expats had heard my conversation and jumped in. He said, "Hey, he says he has bananas. You should get your banana." And I said, "No, he didn't. He confirmed he didn't have bananas." "But he said yes," the expat said. I answered, "Indeed, yes, that he doesn't have bananas." "But then he should have answered no." And I said, "He didn't answer me in English, he answered me in Thai." Next one said, "What?" Sounded like English to me. And I said, "He's a Thai speaker. Thus, he answered the confirmation question by agreeing with it, just like he does in Thai." "But he speaks English." "Indeed," I said, "but he is not a fluent English speaker. He hasn't acquired this grammar item yet." "Oh," the expert said, "you can't trust these people. When they say yes, they mean no. When they say no, they mean yes." And I said, "Actually, it's true that sometimes they say yes when they mean no, and no when they mean yes, but it's not a trust thing. It's a grammar thing. I trust this kid just fine. He told me the truth."
There's a fruit store on our street, it's run by a Greek, and he keeps good things to eat, but you should hear him speak. When you ask him anything, never answers no. He just yeses you to death, and as he takes your dough, he tells you, "Yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today. We've string beans and onions, cabbages and scallions, and all kinds of fruit and say we have an old-fashioned tomato, Long Island potato. But yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today."
Business got so good with him, he wrote home to say, "Send me Pete and Nick and Jim, I need help right away." When he got them in the store, there was fun, you bet. Someone asked for sparrow grass, and then the whole quartet all answered yes. We have no bananas. We have no bananas today.
Our grapefruit, I'll bet you, is not gonna wet you. We drain them out every day.
We got those hen fruit, have you tried them?
You better try 'em live, chickens inside 'em. But yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today, not today. Yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today, not today. This song isn't pretty, but still it's a ditty that grows on you day by day. And you can all do something for us, if you please just join in the chorus. All together, yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas.
We have no bananas.
We have no bananas today.
This video examines ways people say yes and no when answering questions. Most specifically, we examine the ways people answer when the question is affirmative and when it's negative. Similarly, we even examine how one accompanies answers with appropriate nods and shakes. Now, when we answer in the affirmative, we try to nod, at least in English. And when it's negative, we shake our head. And indeed, the nodding can be just as important as the answer. In many languages, the affirmative is expressed as the default construction. No other words or morphemes are needed. Regarding the negative, many languages demand an extra word or morpheme, sometimes more than just one. When responding to a question in many European languages, the yes or no answer corresponds to the verb. Here's an affirmative example. I love you.
Really? You love me?
Yes, I really love you. And in English, this can be emphasized by conjugating the do verb in front of the dictionary verb.
I do love you.
Really? You do love me?
Yes, I really do love you.
In English, as well as other European languages, though not all, the negative is formed by adding a morpheme, in this case nt, to the do conjugation. In this case, don't. And the corresponding answer no is used so that there is continuity between the answer and the verb, no and don't. For example,
I don't love you.
really? You don't love me?
No, I really don't love you.
Similarly, in other European languages like Portuguese, you simply keep the affirmative or negative and you add a yes or a no. So in Portuguese, we have o pássaro voa. Voa o pássaro? Voa sim. Voa is the affirmative conjugation and it's followed by the yes, in this case, sim. And, of course, we nod our head at the same time. Here then is the negative version. O pássaro não voa. Não voa o pássaro. Não voa não. You have não added to show negativity with the verb as well as the corresponding não answer. And you'll see that it's not hard to see how the noun corresponds to the answer now. But in an enormous number of languages, this verb corresponding to the answer is not accomplished in this fashion. Let's look at Mandarin. At first, everything looks the same. 鸟飞,鸟飞吗? 对,鸟飞. The word 对 is the one word confirming answer. But check out what happens in the negative. 鸟不飞,鸟不飞吗? 对,鸟不飞. Why would a Chinese speaker say 对 here? Any ideas? If you said that the 对 answer confirms agreement with the previous statement, you'd be correct. How correct? Well, the word 对 actually means correct. And indeed, even in English, we can answer in this fashion. We could have this dialogue. The bird doesn't fly. It doesn't fly? Correct. The bird doesn't fly. And you'll notice, even in English, if you use the word correct, you're more likely to nod yes. And sure enough, even in Chinese, one would nod correct to answer this as well. So let's recapitulate with respect to why Portuguese uses the negative to confirm the negative question, and Chinese uses the affirmative to confirm the negative question. In Portuguese, as well as many European languages, the answer agrees with the whole verb, and the nodding similarly corresponds to the answer. In Chinese, as in most languages from Asia, Africa, the Pacific, and indigenous languages in the Americas and around the world, in fact, the listener's answer tells the speaker whether or not they agree with the previous statement. And so goes the corresponding shaking or nodding. It also works when you start with the negative statement and then refute the statement. Here in Portuguese, we've got não voa o pássaro? Voa sim. Whereas in Chinese, you have the opposite of dui, which is bu, and you shake your head bu when you don't agree, even if the bird is in fact flying. Get it? And of course, the opposite is also true. So, let's practice nodding and shaking. For this answer, do you nod or shake? You nod. How about this? The shake corresponds to the bu answer. And this one, it's Portuguese, so the shake agrees with the verb and its negativity. And finally, nodding when agreeing with the previously made negative statement. So, for good measure, have a look here at all four possibilities, affirming and disaffirming, along with the corresponding nodding and shaking. It's worth noting that in English, it's really common for us to say correct or right when agreeing with the previous statements. Thus, alerting students from these language groups with this strategy will likely save them many headaches as they acquire yes and no. For you as teachers, you'll want to be ultra cognizant of when you make negative questions with students in the room who are from these language groups. Indeed, if you get a yes answer to a negative question, be sure you're getting the answer you want. If you're not sure, then rephrase the question as an affirmative. Here's an example. The teacher asks a student, "You don't want to waste your time staying home?" The child answers yes. You're in a conundrum. Does the child want to stay home or be at school? Remember that a child could be from a language group where the affirmative answer is agreement with your claim. Thus, here, the student could be respectful by answering yes rather than snarky, suggesting that wasting a time is the desired result. Believe me, many teachers have punished students over such answers, even though the student's intent was completely respectful. Don't ruin your relationship with students should they answer a negative question in this fashion. Be sure you double back and reconfirm.